What's up, guys? It's the Bam, and I'm rocking with Leah's Lemonade.
Well, I wish I could give you the tea, but mine's just a little bit tart, and that's why it's called Leah's Lemonade. And my next guest, I am excited to have because I'm really excited about this project that you have. I think it's really interesting, and I think there needs to be more conversation about it. So, the one and only Bambi, welcome to the Lemonade Stand, boo. How are you?
Hey, thank you so much. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I want for you in 2024 peace. That's what I want because I feel like everything that's happened to you in this last year has been a lot. And so I hope.
It absolutely has been a lot. But you know what? That's life. Life just always life in. It's never going to be in a space where absolutely nothing is going on unless we're dead. So
All
I'm
right.
just taking everything as it comes and just learning how to navigate through these like tough times.
Yeah. What do you wish people would realize? Because obviously we see you on TV in a persona, if you will. What do you think people would
Mhm.
realize about like you as a human being? Like, what do you? Because I feel like when your back is against the wall and like everybody is coming at you, people tend to forget like there's Bambi, and then wait, there's a human being with like who's a mother,
Mhm.
who has like feelings and emotions. What do you people wish people like realized about you?
Well, it's crazy. I kind of don't really care. I really am happy that I get to share myself in the truest form with the people who appreciate me, and everybody else are just spectators. And I say that, and now more than ever, I'm really starting to realize that because somebody just as early as today said something like, "Oh, well, you're gonna get canceled," and I thought about it, and I was like, "Canceled in terms of what?" Because maybe I'll lose some Instagram followers because people don't like what I have to say or what I have to post or whatever the case is. But when it comes down to it, I really do have a true village. I have people that love me and care for me and support me. TV, off TV. And those are the people that I'm concerned with, not the people who are just committed to misunderstanding you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited for this book, Mommy, I Want to Go Home. You are an author. Congratulations on that. And actually,
Thank
the
you.
book is doing very well, charting at number 5 on the Amazon chart. So
Mhm.
people are really resonating with this book. Let everybody know about the book and why you decided to write it.
So, "Mommy, I Go Home" is a book, and it's a way for mothers or even fathers, anybody, to be honest, to kind of explain a situation where kids are living between two homes. And it's also a way to introduce that idea to other children who may live in a home with both parents and may not understand, well, why does this kid have to go to his mom's house and then his dad's house? And, it's just having those tough conversations with kids in a fun way that's illustrated so that they can look at it and basically see themselves and the characters.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I was curious about is why do you think that it's more important? Because I feel like a lot in the past we saw our parents, divorce was kind of a hush hush. People didn't really. It's just like,
Mhm.
oh, mommy and daddy. Why do you think it was important to actually explain divorce actively while your children are children versus maybe waiting until they get a little bit older?
Well, I feel like in these days, our main focus and our goals are to do things differently than what our parents did and try to be better. Not to say that they were horrible, but I do feel like there were some moments in my childhood where I wish somebody would have just tried to explain to me what was going on, opposed to trying to cover it up, because then I would have been able to deal with however I felt at the moment.
Yeah.
So I want my kids to have these feelings and to get it out and to understand that it's okay to feel however you're going to feel, and I'm a safe place for you to have those feelings and release whatever you're going through.
Yeah, yeah. And I think we also don't give kids as much credit as we should because genuinely
Hmm.
like think of all the times when you were younger and you knew something was off, but you couldn't like put your finger on it. So I think
Absolutely.
great tool, especially because I saw in an interview you talked about you were searching for resources online to try to help you bridge the gap between what was actually happening in their real life, and you couldn't find it, especially for Black authors or storybooks that look like them. Talk to me about that process, making a book, and then also making sure that it represents you as a Black woman.
For sure. So just going through that process, um, initially my first thought wasn't like, okay, I'm gonna write a book. Again, like you said, the first thing was, well, let me find some books. And so when I couldn't, I just started writing down thoughts, and I'm like, okay, well, when he acts this way, I'll respond this way, or when he says this, I'll say that. So all of these thoughts just became um a lot of ideas that I was like, okay, let me put this into a book, and then let me create some characters what they'll be able to relate to. And it was actually one of the best ideas I've had in terms of me being able to talk to my kids and communicate things with them on their level.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, besides even the book, you've now started to make journals, and that's based off of a single you put out. So talk to me about,
Mhm.
because the book is obviously a bridge, if you will, for your kids, but
Yeah.
you've had a lot going on. So creating a journal, was that kind of one of the ways? Clearly, writing has been very, very like cathartic.
Yeah.
So like
Oh,
about the
absolutely. Yeah, so journaling was one of the things that I started doing right when I started the divorce process. As soon as I filed for divorce, I started fasting. So that consisted of just me eliminating like social media and like drinking and smoking hookah and just being out in clubs and doing all that type of stuff. So I was dedicating most of my time to truly tapping into what was going on, and journaling was a great outlet for me at that time. And so I just wanted to share that with people because affirmations were like a strong part of my healing process. Just looking in the mirror and saying these words, and after some time, you start believing it. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to share that with people in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of affirmations, obviously going through a divorce, obviously having to walk your children through a new life. What are some of the things that you tell your daughters, obviously, as a mom, when you're going through a divorce and you're obviously transitioning out of a relationship like that? What are the conversations that you have with your daughters about just like, relationships and love after something like that?
Well, my daughters are really young, but what I try to do, or not even what I try to do, what I do with them like on a daily basis is let them know that it is okay to express how you feel to anyone. And I'm not that mother who's going to say, oh, give your auntie a hug, give your grandma a hug. No, if you don't want
Mhm.
to, you don't have to. If it
Yeah,
doesn't make you feel comfortable, if it doesn't allow you to be your true, authentic self,
yeah,
don't do it. And that is the number one thing that I stress to my kids and with anybody who's around my kid. Like, if it doesn't make you happy, if it doesn't suit you, don't do it. But at the same time, I teach my kids to be very compassionate. There's three of them, so they have to learn how to, to share their space and their energy and all that stuff. So those are the main things for me, just allowing them to have a voice and, just navigate through life in a way that's comfortable for them.
yeah, absolutely. Also, I saw in an interview you were talking about this stage of your life, and you feel like you're somewhat moving in a different direction, or you're appealing to a space that is kind of contradictory to the audience that you may have built via the reality show that you're on.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself leaving the show at any point soon, or is it just like you want to branch into a multifaceted space?
Well, I feel like I've always been a woman of many different I've always been multifaceted.
Right.
And you don't really get to see that because obviously on the show that I'm on, we are just kind of in a space where people assume that, okay, this is all they got, this is all they are. And that's fine. Like, if I choose to continue in that space, that would just be one area.
Yeah.
And then, I'll just do what I'm doing now, which is tapping into different audience and on different platforms. So I can't say like well, no, I see myself, I'm not going to do it, or I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. And I never like to say, I'll be done with this, but I will say that, I will be tapping into to different platforms for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things, speaking of the show that you're on, Erica just sat down and did an interview, and she talked about you and her being genuine friends. When you look back on this whole situation, obviously of her exit of the show, do you feel like, because she basically, yeah, I'm sure you saw that she felt like they didn't handle the way that they used the clip for benefit and then moved on. Do you think that they handled the situation, like if you were in her shoes, do you feel like they handled the situation appropriately, or it could have been handled differently?
Well, I definitely think it could have been handled differently, but I also understand that the talent that's on the show, we are kind of disposable, like in their minds. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, we have a wave of people, they come, they go, the next people come, they go. So we always have to keep that in mind when we're making decisions, and we can't really rely too much on the execs or anybody else to make decisions that are going to benefit us, because it's a business. They're going to do what is beneficial to them, and it's just up to us to get in where we fit in.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think also, what's interesting about, your that show particularly, it introduced a lot of us to you, and your relationship was on full display. When you look back at this situation, because they always talk about the reality TV curse in relationships, do you think that that is a real thing, or that was a part of the ultimate, downfall of your marriage, the reality TV aspect of everything?
It could have been. I mean, when you're on a show like this, like you're putting your life on display, and if you aren't secure enough in your relationship to be able to receive feedback or discard it and just do whatever you want to do, then it gets you in spaces where you're trying to appease the viewers, opposed to, what I'm saying,
Yeah.
working your relationship out. And I kind of had that this year with people. You'd be surprised how many women told me that, I was stupid for getting a divorce, or you're listening to your friends and they're miserable, so this is why you're getting a divorce. And I'm just like, has it ever dawned on anyone that, I just said, okay, this is where I draw the line, and now I'm getting a divorce. So, you do open yourself up to all those opinions, but you really have to be a strong person to keep it moving and ultimately do what's going to be beneficial for yourself.
Yeah, and I also think, a lot of people assume when you date someone who is famous or, previously famous, that there's this understanding of sorts, that a lot of people are willing to put up with that, and not
Yeah.
everybody is. And you said cheating for you was that,
No.
and that was that line. I'm so
Yeah.
curious. We are seeing obviously your ex with his ex a lot. Well, with both of his exes, but his
Mhm.
baby mama specifically. Did he give you any indication when y'all were in this relationship that they were with that was a thing? Because it's looking very comfortable to me, and I'm kind of like, I feel like everybody's looking like, hold on, are we missing
Yeah.
something here?
No, no, he never did. And then the thing about it is, I honestly, I have completely moved on, but it's like, now looking back, when you've heard someone say the types of things that he said about both of these women, and then see where he is today, it just lets me know that I made the right decision.
Hmm. Well, that's enough to be said right there. What do you want people to understand about Bambi that you think is a misconception, or something that people constantly say online that you're like, that's not me? What do you want people to know?
To be honest, I think I'm past that. I want people to know that I have a book and that I have a journal, and if and if anybody who could benefit from, either one of those, then go ahead and buy it for Christmas, use it as a stocking stuffer. But when it comes to like me personally and how people feel about me, I think I'm past that. I think I'm in a space in my life where it's like, okay, well, think what you want to think. If you want to know more, if you truly want to know who I am, you would invest more time and trying to figure that out because the information is there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
The
love it.
work has been done. Like I do all types of work. I've been having a nonprofit for over the past 10 years.
Mm.
So, I do what I do, and it's not to, just because I'm not putting things on display publicly, I think people assume the latter. But like I said, if you want to know more about me, I'm pretty much an open book. So the people who love me, and the people who can't stand me, they cannot stand me. They hate me so bad, and I am okay with it.
I love that. And I think to be on the platform that you're on, you have to do that to sleep at night. You have to have that self actualization. Okay, one thing you said in an interview that I thought was so interesting. I find that most, and this is a generalization, so keep that
Hmm.
there. But I find that most Black people who have lived through a lot of trauma tend to be more like outwardly aggressive or outwardly forward. And one of the things that you said that I thought was so interesting was your passive nature has stemmed from your trauma. So talk to me a little bit
Yeah.
about that because I think when we see people being disruptive or maybe violent, we're like, oh, the trauma, but being silent.
Hmm.
And then
Yeah.
also even going back to you talking about how you tell your kids to speak up. Talk to me about
Yeah.
that. Like where did the
Yeah.
passiveness in your background kind of come from?
So it's like just seeing how quickly things can escalate by saying something, speaking out of turn, or just knowing my temperament, knowing when I go, I am going to go.
Mhm.
And now I have 3 children that I have to worry about entirely. So um I think at a certain time in my life it was just me. I didn't have any children. So I'm just like, all right, well, if we're gonna go, we're gonna go. I understand the consequences, whatever. But at this point, I think I've experienced so many losses, like so many people going to jail, so many people's lives just changing in a blink of an eye based on uh impulsive decision. You know what I'm saying? So I try to sit back and just really think about, like, is this even worth it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I want to go home. I want my kids to see me walk through that door.
yeah,
And so a lot of times it's not even worth it.
yeah. Yeah, that's so real. I just thought that was so interesting because again, I think when you like you said, the impulsivity of trauma tends to show
Hmm.
that way. But I think it's interesting that you said I'm almost passive because of the trauma.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. I think, it's very clear just talking to you that you have had a lot of growth, a lot of, moments where you've seen clarity throughout the strings of your life. And even up until this point, handling this divorce, you've done it with so much grace. So, Bambi, I just want to thank you again,
Oh,
plug
thank
your
you.
book and tell everybody where they can get everything you're working on and any other projects you got going on. Let everybody know where they can catch up with
Well, thank you so much again for having me. I have everything linked in my bio on Instagram. My Instagram handle is ADIZTHEBAM. And then my book and my journal are both on Amazon, and they're on my personal website for houseofshimmer.com. So, yep, that's where you can find everything.
Yes, catch my girl because I love the book. I love the concept. And again, this is going to help so many kids who are, having parents that are going through divorces or just teaching kids to be more tolerant because some of y'all kids ain't nice. Okay. So teaching kids to be more
That's right.
tolerant as
That's
they grow
right.
and learn. Okay. So, baby, thank you so much. And I appreciate you. Lemonade stand, grab a cup, throw it back, and sip on all of
Thank
that.
you so much.